folks, my perspective here. In this video clip I'll be looking at images of the moon, and from these images we will help to understand that the Earth we are living on is actually a flat plane, and the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. The moon isn't in deep space, and that we are being lied to. So to start off with, here's a man. He has a 50mm camera lens. Now the 50mm camera lens is what the human eye is. It's around about a 50mm. So the 50mm camera lens cannot perform the tasks of a microscope. We know that. It's unreasonable to expect the camera lens, the 50mm camera lens, to do the task of a microscope. And the same applies to a telescope. A 50mm camera lens cannot have the same focal length and range of a telescope. So in other words, if I see the moon and my camera lens, this 50mm lens, can focus on the moon and on the mountains and on the clouds, means the moon has to be within focal range of that 50mm camera lens. The moon cannot be in deep space. And it's not about size, it's about focal length. So why do we expect this 50mm lens to behave like a massive telescope? And during the day, right, you notice that when you see the moon during the day and you photograph it, the moon reflects the colors of the Earth's atmosphere. So why is that? Well, it's simple. The moon is reflecting the colors that is surrounding it. For that to happen, the moon must be in the Earth's atmosphere. So during the day, you'll see those colors in the sky, and nighttime, at sunset, in dusk and dawn, you'll see the colors in the Earth's atmosphere refracting off the moon. Means the moon has to be in the Earth's atmosphere for this to happen. So the human eye and that 50mm camera lens cannot see the moon and the mountains and the clouds all in focus, all together. Through the Earth's atmosphere you can see the moon in focus. Another issue is reflections. Look at this image. Notice how the mountain, from the horizon line, the mountains are reflected like a mirror. The perfect distance. The boat, the mountains, the clouds, but also the moon. You see, if the moon in this position should be 400,000 kilometers in the back, further away from you in Z space, right? Well, how can its reflection be in front of you? Right, so you'll say, well, the mountains, you know, are a few kilometers away, and they're perfectly reflected, but the moon is 400,000 kilometers away, and yet its reflection is the same principle as the mountains. How can the reflection of the moon, if it's directly in front of you, 400,000 kilometers away, reflect in the ocean floor? It simply cannot. You see, if the Earth was a ball and you see the moon on the horizon, the moon's reflection would be round and it would be on the other side of the ball. You cannot see the reflection of the moon in front of you, a few kilometers in front of you. And this is simple. You can't escape this fact. And this shows us that we are not living on a ball. We are living on a flat plane, and the water is flat. That's why the moon and its reflection, and the reflection is elongated, like this. If it was a ball, a curve, you wouldn't see the reflection. You can kiss this image goodbye, and all beautiful images like that would be non-existent. So the clouds, right, that are above you are reflected below you, and so is the moon. If it's above you, it's reflected directly below the moon. Because the reflection of the clouds and the moon, the principle applies to both. And the moon is sharp in focus to the human eye because it's in focal range of the human eye. As the moon moves away, the same applies to the mountains. And now we're going to look at the throw of light. You see, the moon only reflects light on the clouds surrounding it. The moon has a limited throw of light. And its reflection and its limited throw of light help us to understand that it's in the Earth's atmosphere and that the ocean is flat, 100% flat, from the horizon to you. So you can comfortably say then, well, this means the entire Earth, the water, is 100% flat. The oceans are flat. So, let's have a look. You have a lens, right? You see the moon, you pull a focus, your focal range, from the clouds to the moon. And you can zoom in on the clouds and the moon. And they all zoom in proportion. And you can see the moon crisp and clear. How can you see the moon crisp and clear through the entire Earth's atmosphere? And you can focus on the moon, and the Earth's atmosphere doesn't distort the moon if the moon's in deep space. So it's the fact that the moon is sharp, you can pull a focus on it from the clouds to the moon, and its reflection is elongated, tells us that we're living on a flat plane. You see, if the moon was 400,000 kilometers in space, the shadows would be super elongated. How can light refract off the moon and travel through space 400,000 kilometers away? It's simply impossible. And look at the shadows. The shadows of the clouds would be extremely long and distorted. The shadow of the yacht would be long and distorted, and there would be no elongated moon reflection. So you can do this yourself. Take your camera, focus on the moon, then pull a focus to the trees in front of the moon, and look at it. Your camera lens does this with ease. Look how sharp the moon is. When you zoom in and out, I'm not talking about a digital zoom, I'm talking about a zoom lens. And then ask yourself, well, if it's a full moon like that image, that bit of video footage, how can you see a full moon in the day? Because what we are taught is the moon would have to be on the opposite side of the earth. You on the sun side, and you cannot see through the ball. You cannot see around the curve of the ball that you are on. So no matter how far you extend the moon along that line in the distance, right, the moon just simply gets smaller and stay on that same line in Z space. Yet we can take an image of the moon and the sun above the horizon. We see its throw of light is limited, and the reflection of the moon on the water tells us that the moon is in the Earth's atmosphere. It's above the clouds, and the water's flat. The Earth is flat. Look, let's take simple things. Here's the reflection of a bird, right? And we see the reflection of the mountains. Look at the reflection of the clouds. This is how we see in perspective. Now, when a bird flies and it moves its distance away from you, it gets smaller and gets bigger. And the reflection of the bird in the water There's a principle applied to this. It's the same below as it is above. Means the waters must be flat. We apply the same principle to the moon. In the moon, as it moves away from you and comes towards you, and its reflection is above from the horizon, it's the equal distance, means you're living on a flat plane. So you might say, well, what do I care? This a flat ball. So why is it important? Why should you care? Well, to help you understand, to illustrate the point why it is important, is, look, this young man, he has a hard-working father. His father buys this young man a car. He knows the personality of this young man, what he would like, and he buys him a car according to his needs and his personality. This young man likes beautiful things. Nothing wrong with that. But this young man, he doesn't look after the car, right? He drives it into the ground. This shows lack of affection for his father, lack of appreciation. And you'd say, well, can it get worse than this? Yes, it can. How? Is if you go to this young man and ask him, what type of car was it? And he says, I don't know. I didn't look properly. It wasn't important to me. That will be the utter reflection of disrespect and ungratefulness in this young man. He says, well, my friends said it was such and such. So do you want to be this type of person? No. So the earth is polluted, right? And you can say, well, I'm doing my best not to be a part of this. I'm living my life in a way that I don't pollute the earth, and I'm not partaking in cruelty towards the animals, abusing the animals, and enriching myself with the suffering of animals. But are you looking after the earth? Are you looking properly? You see, if you looked, and you considered and pondered these things, would show love for the Creator. You see, by looking, we develop love for Jehovah, the Creator. And by pondering on these things, it draws us closer to the Creator. In the Bible, there was a man whose name was Jacob. He had a son who loved him very much. His name was Joseph. Now, because Joseph loved Jacob very much, Jacob gave Joseph a coat of many colors, because he loved his father. And the fact that his father gave him this gift caused his other brothers to hate him, and they sold him into slavery. And what do we learn from this? Is that our Father, the Creator, can also give you this coat of many colors. Our Creator, if you love the Creator, He will open your eyes and you will see the world as it really is. You have a choice. Don't waste your life by walking blindly through this wonderful creation of Jehovah and take it for granted. Don't let other people tell you what it is and what it isn't. Use your own eyes, use your mind, look and think. You have a choice. Don't waste your life. So cheers and thanks for watching.